Hi everybody, it's lycheepunnet, joined by a lot of people for once for the Charlotte cast. We're going to be trying out a we're going to be trying out a new system of uh, actual organized thinking and rating, which is something that has been requested a couple times and is used to great effect on other similar set review shows. But before we do begin, I'd like to introduce everyone on the cast with me. First, the newly rebranded El Prez.
What? It's not a new brand. Like, I've used
Well,
this
it
tag for
is because
years.
that's true, but I've been calling you W Kim for like I don't know how long this has been going for, but that long.
Sure, I use both
So
tags.
yeah, you can be all praise now.
I can be
Then
both.
um we've got the self-proclaimed Thomas the Dank Engine.
Hello?
I
I'm
know
dank as fuck.
we said fewer memes, but this guy just refuses it. And then we've got Teru, who's here because he's Teru. Hi Teru.
Hi, it's been a while. I felt like I needed to say stupid stuff on the internet about cards.
Alrighty
Yep.
then.
All right. So before we do get in, normally we jump right in, but again, we're trying out this new system. It's linked in the show description. It's you might be reading a blog post that has a link to it. Basically, we'll be giving every card a grade from good to bad. Now, I know a lot of other shows do like A plus to F or 5 to 0 or whatever, but because Weiss is just it's a game where you can make a lot of things work, and some things will work better for you than other people because playstyles do exist. People who say they don't are bad, and for that reason, I'm really hesitant to give anything a specifically graded score because your results will vary. It's really not a clear-cut game for deck building.
It's a pretty high variance card game, so things happen.
Yeah, so a lot of cards that you think are bad can be used to good effect. A lot of cards that you think are good may actually be terrible for others. There are examples all over the world. Although we will try to be somewhat objective. That's the point of this show. Yeah.
Okay, first
Yep. So,
card.
so we're just going to jump straight in. The first card is USA level 3. I got to get the actual translations up.
Something Precious, USA Nishimori.
Yep.
The card effect reads, for every other gifted character, she gains 500 power, so pretty standard power boosting effect these days.
She's 9-5 base. That puts her to 11-5.
Yep. Whenever you take damage during your opponent's turn, if this is in the front row, you get to scry and choose to leave it on top or mill it. So it's functionally getting rid of a damage that you could have been taking. And finally, it has a climax
Yep.
phase change to the Something Precious Misa, which is in red, and we'll get to that in a moment.
All you need to know is that card heals and has a climax combo. Now, this card is better than you think it is. Like, I don't care how good you think it is, you're underestimating it. I have absolutely no doubt that this is one of the best level threes in the set. And if you don't think it's good, you need to try it for yourself.
I kind of disagree. I think the card is good in the sense like it will get the job done every time. I think the scry effect is actually really good in general. My biggest issue with this card is actually nothing to do with this one in particular, but rather the timing of the change from the other card.
No, that's not a problem at all. See, this card, if it's in the graveyard, like you don't need it in your hand. If it's in the discard pile or the waiting room or whatever, it turns your level 3 Misa into the best Electron Diva that's ever been printed.
Savage.
It comes down, it heals, and then you change it. It becomes an 11-5 that has an amazing ability that only gets better in multiples. Like the current fairly common on front attack scry, that's like all right.
It's on damage taken.
I'm aware. I'm aware. I'm just saying that
Oh, you're comparing it to the actual old effect?
yeah,
Yeah, this
like
is
the
this is
restand
theoretically
it
better,
Perkemi or
I
whatever.
guess.
This is worse if there's only one user, but that's not the point. You're supposed to play two or three of this,
Yeah.
and when you have two or three of this, that makes your opponent's clash effects, their burn one effects, that makes them so much worse. Like
I
this card, you have two or three of this in the front row, and then suddenly Yami is doing a triple Yami is suddenly doing like 4 damage total if they're lucky.
I mean, that's kind of like one of the advantages of Yami anyways though, wasn't ever her reach, was the fact that she does through basically any deck state 5 damage basically.
Yeah, but she's not going to do that because as soon as you take one, you mill three, and then you're down to your next climax already.
Oh no, this effect is actually like really effective against Yami when you have a lot. My issue with this card in general is one, I don't actually think it's that large. I feel like they're
11-5 on all three
It's pretty
rogues
big.
is pretty big.
and
I
I feel
mm,
like as a set, its largest issues are going to be primarily dealing with clock kickers.
You have a 4K counter and level supports.
I mean, I'm usually playing like assuming that the clock kickers are sitting around what
Look, there's
14,
no,
14.5.
I
no,
mean, not every set's Little Busters, man.
yeah. The only set that can
pretty
actually
good
do that
reach.
is LB.
No,
And
Madoka gets the
Madoka,
14.5.
man. Well, it
Madoka
depends on
gets
their
the
back
14.
row.
It's very difficult. They
I
need the
mean,
level
13.5
support
is
side
pretty
bar.
trivial to counter
Yeah,
with this
and
card.
you'll
I
As long
find
as you
it
have
hard.
level
I find it
6.
hard to believe that you'll have enough stock to full front row it and have enough stock to counter on every slot.
it's
Why?
really not that difficult.
All your
This
level,
set
all your
has,
core game
yeah.
is costless. You should have at
This-
least 6 stock going into level 3.
And
Determine you want to play this.
your normal counter at level 1 is a 102K counter. You'll have plenty of stock to do it whatever the hell you want.
I don't know. I'm still not very high on this combo. Like I
Li-
think there are
like
a
I
lot
said,
of
You
things.
have to see it to believe it.
I'm a lot higher on this card than most people, and that's because I think that the power of milling something is just incredibly understated in this game.
Like I think it's great. Like it's a pretty solid card
It is
in
better than you think it is.
in
It is
and of itself, but
possibly
I feel like in the sense that it's still functionally as far as deck building like space, right? It's going to be occupying the same slot as the anti-front.
it is
And
better than the anti-front if you take that into account. I honestly think this is better than the anti-front when it comes to fighting.
Yeah.
It's like Slavru
oh, I completely agree that this is better against Two Lover than the anti-front is.
and the Busters, and probably anything that burns a lot.
I don't think that's necessarily the case in other circumstances.
Against what?
For instance, I think Madoka is very good against this card, but less good
Madoka is
against.
good against anti-front as well. You just put the clock kick in front of something else.
Well, yeah, but
Mhm.
like in the same sense, like the anti-front is like doing a little bit more there.
I disagree. The anti-front
Is
is
it?
just a 10K
I mean-
that doesn't do much, and you need to have the climax, which isn't a guarantee.
Honestly, the biggest issue I have with the anti-front, well, we'll get to later, is that you have to sit on the climax. But
Look, the anti-front is fine. It's a good card, and it deserves the hype. But this card is criminally underrated. I think this, in combination with the Mesa, is together the second best level 3 in this set.
I mean, that said, like if I was gonna build Charlotte, I personally think that Charlotte is better off running burners than they are running the anti-burn. Just because
I
I think
think
I think
you
the
play
burners
both.
I think the burners in the set are just really really effective actually. But
Not really. I don't think the red shoot is that great. The
I'm
Musashi-
mostly referring to like Musashi, and I think Burn 5 is just like a fun effect in general.
I guess, but I still think this is definitely what you want to have in terms of a defensive field. Because
Honestly,
not only is it big, it's just that effect is so good.
Misa is just in here as like a token healer most of the time. I
Exactly.
feel like the cost, like the climax combo, isn't even like you don't even use it really with this
Yeah,
with
you
this
don't even
two
need
card
you
pair.
don't even need to
Yeah.
play gates. Basically, what you do is you have 3 of this, you survive whatever the hell they throw at you, and if you feel you need to, you get to double or triple heal for free because they probably didn't kill any of your 3-2 11-5s backed by supports and counters.
Clearly, I just need to switch back to Gigant Shooter.
Yeah, sure, you can go ahead and do that, but the vast majority of sets will have an enormous problem with this.
Just got to get to 21k and just send one straight to clock at the beginning of the game, beginning of the attack phase.
Assuming you sack an entire field, how big does your Kirito get?
21.
21. Yeah, okay, that's a little. That's
And
a
that's
little.
not even
average.
counting a climax. It's just
Yeah, fair
21k
enough.
power.
What about
Sure.
those sick
So
double homework plays?
Jesus.
if you want to hard counter this, then go to Gigant Shooter. But for all your other needs, there's Mastercard.
No, like I think the card is fine. I
It's more than fine. I honestly think it's like what rating did you give it?
I gave it niche because I think the deck building space is a little bit awkward.
I think
See, I
niche
gave it
is
I
a
gave
bit
it a
harsh.
good I gave it a good meta. I think this is one of the draws to the set because the only other instance of this ability is on a card that can't be reliably fielded in 3 rows, only in 1 row, which is an Idolmaster Cinderella Girls. Like
I have to agree with
this
that
this ability
evaluation.
this ability has not been properly explored because it doesn't exist in many circumstances, and because of
Does
that,
it
it's difficult to
exist at
evaluate.
all?
It
It
is in
exists in
Cinderella Girls.
Idolmaster.
Oh, yeah,
Cinderella
you just
Girls
said
is
that.
in the center middle row. It gets a crap ton of power, but you only get one of them. Whereas this is 11/5 everywhere with possible supports and counters. So you get the effect of like if you haven't visualized what this card does, basically what happens is your opponent hits you for like two. Say you take two, and you don't die because you're fat. Then you look at the top 3 cards, and if they're all not climaxes, they all go to the bin. That's 3 damage that you could have taken. That's all gone, and then they attack you again. Oh, you cancelled? That's fine. And then they attack, say that was a clash, you take one, you look at another 3. You go through so many cards that may not be climaxes that it's enormously powerful in the defense.
I mean, theoretically, you could run like I feel like this effect is much weaker to Musashi than traditional shot effects in the sense that if you do cancel the Musashi burn, you end up seeing fewer cards, and you theoretically can take more damage from the Musashi burn than the actual attack itself.
I guess, but Musashi Burn rarely burns above 2 anyway.
No, most decks are not constructed with Musashi burn being more likely to burn for 2 most of the time. I mean,
Well,
roughly,
Musashi
let's see.
most often burns for 1, just on a
Yeah, like
stats
half your deck is
basis.
I mean,
probably
24 of your
zeros.
deck
Yeah.
is climaxes and zeros.
Yeah, so
About.
this is actually quite likely to be as effective against Musashi as it is to be against
It's just that
just something like Clash.
Musashi does occasionally mill a level 3, at which point, like, this card effect becomes a little bit.
Well, occasionally, sure, but
Yeah,
I mean,
I wouldn't even
that's
say occasionally. It's
Isn't
kind of
this
a
like
rarity.
assuming, like, 8 level 3s, and you full fielded 3 of them, and you have, like, 25 cards left in deck, and you somehow didn't trigger any other ones, then I guess you have a
yeah,
20% chance to mill it.
but
I
like
don't think so. They're mostly going to be hand
Uh,
field.
I feel like your argument is a bit moot
No, the
because
argument
like
is, like,
what
not
if they
actually super
cancel
relevant here,
what if it's
but,
like cancel on burn 1, you know?
yeah, I mean, like,
Like
the
it's
way
bad if they cancel the burn.
the way I
That's
see it, like, for
whatever.
this card is that at some point it's possible that you encounter diminishing returns.
I don't think so. This card's upside outweighs its downside enormously for me, and I'm taking a stand. I think this is one of the best cards in the set. And Yuyute is putting it 500 yen, which only makes my argument stronger because Yuyute is awful at evaluating cards.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
Well, I've got this down as a good card, and it's actually I've got the meta label on it because I think this actually draws you to the set. It makes you want to play this card. But if you disagree, then you disagree, and when I'm eventually proven right, then I'll have that going for me. I believe in this card.
oh, so do I. It's a good card.
It's just it gets so much stronger in multiples that it's not even funny.
And it's so trivial to get out of multiples, too. It's like,
Kind of scary, to be honest.
mm,
All right.
Alright, so you guys have got it at niche or playable. Me and Tom have it at good, and I have it at meta because I'm taking a stand.
I also have the meta label on there, kind of.
Sick.
I
I'm not a
have it as playable meta
Oh,
because I
that's fine
didn't
as well.
think too much about it in multiples when I was going through the cards.
If it
It's
makes you
like
feel better, I originally had it at niche, and then I played against it, and I realized, wow, I'm stupid. This card is amazing.
card's
So,
really good. Like
yeah.
it's just as someone who's played a lot of the mill on like when this character is attacked, top check mill sort of effects. I think I would just heavily prefer this order of events.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I'm really high on this, and so should be as well. And Will come. El Press will come around at some point. All right. Shall we move on?
Yep,
Next card.
it's
Now
Musashi.
Tamori. What do you think about when you're alone? It's a 3/2 10k, which is actually an 11k. And when it comes down, it gains the Musashi effect, which is during the turn displaced from hand to stage, when the damage dealt by this character is cancelled, mill the top card of your library and deal X damage, where X equals 1 plus the level of the milled card.
It's Musashi that can side attack. Like, actually, Kontai Collection
Yeah,
Musashi that can side attack.
Literally power creeped, yeah.
Yeah, pretty
My
much.
poor baby. Want to sell SR Musashis for SR.
And the tragic
House.
thing is it's not
me
as good as Musashi in context of the set either.
Yeah, this set's
That's-
anti-burn. It means that it was fine to print this objectively better Musashi because of the anti-burn gimmick. Or that's what they think, but
Yeah.
I think that's dumb because the anti-burn is both neutral and it's still optional.
Yeah, like,
That's true.
it's kind of like,
so-
to me, the anti-burn is like, you're not going to stuff it away in every matchup, obviously. Because not every deck burns.
Mhm.
And like, I don't know, you don't necessarily need to build your deck with it either. I mean, you probably would, but I don't know. I think just a very standard looking Musashi is very good, regardless of the set.
I just think in general, like, this effect is hard to go wrong with as far as, like, reliable finishers go.
Yep.
That's
They
true.
cancel 6 times. That's how you go wrong.
Well, if they canceled 6 times,
Oh, that
then,
happens.
like, clearly their prayers to RNGesus were answered while yours are. You just didn't sacrifice your firstborn child,
Their love wasn't the real thing, clearly.
clearly.
Yeah. No, it's
I have it down as good card just because, like, the effect is, like, almost never bad.
yeah, it's clearly a good card, but I haven't got it as meta because there's so many other Musashi decks, and those decks have other finishes as well.
Yeah, like, it's hard for me to say it's the reason to play this deck.
Can't
Because,
really
like,
go wrong.
it's
Yeah.
fine.
We've come to the
Alright.
point where we're just calling this effect fine.
Yeah, it's a little sad, but that's the world we live in. At least not every set's getting Yami. That's the.
Oh, God.
Approximately one set has Yami, so
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we can move on, I guess. So, moments in the student council room now tomorrow, 00500. It's an assist for 500, and whenever a gifted character becomes reversed, choose another character, or choose any character. That character gains 500 power for the turn. I have this listed as playable, but I could easily see people saying it's bad simply
I'm
because
Putting it niche. There are decks that I'd imagine would love to, like. I imagine there are ways to make this a card effect a little bit more funny.
are there? I'm not sure there are because
But I think it's just not as good, for instance, as, like, the Shitoge from Nisekoi, the brainstormer that
Oh.
assigns 1,000 when a card loses.
yeah, no, it's definitely not as good as that because that card is just really good in the deck. I think this card is. I honestly want to call it bad because it's outclassed by several other cards. There's no good assist to make this useful. There's nothing that runs with assist synergies. But it's just not a bad card. It's a playable card. That's all I can say.
I mean, like, there's globals in the set, and the set also has like the Love Live Ellie clone sort of card profile. So having like access to 1075s in each lane
Yeah,
makes me
it's
not
pretty
like
solid.
500 to front with some not always relevant utility.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, like, on reverse effects are one of the most overlooked effects in general. Not like on reverse, but I mean, like, this particular power boosting type effect, and people tend to, like, forget about them randomly.
The
I'm
problem is
just-
just like there's not space to put this in your back row.
I just don't think this card is as good as the Global Assist or a Brainstorm, of which there are several good ones. By several, I mean 2.
I don't like just like 500 boosts. I don't know.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
need to have something really good on them for me to really think they're a solid card, and this does not have that really good effect.
Now, if this were old man, like actual
Oh man,
man,
if this were old man.
This is more comparable to the old Angel Beats one, which was a global 500 and a signed 500 on reverse.
mm,
But that card is from a different era where 7,500 was the middle ground for power and the 500 did make or break it. That's no longer the case, and I'm not convinced this card is any good.
yeah, me neither.
I still think it's playable because it's just not a terrible card. It's just
I would
I
say
can't
niche, just
I
because
can't
like
see I can't see anywhere like I want to say niche, but I can't see a deck that would play it. What deck would play this over either the Assist Brainstorm Yusa or the Global Assist Tomori?
well, sure, but like isn't playable higher than niche?
Niche is a subset of playable.
No one explained this fucking shit to me. Okay, I call it bad then. Fuck it.
There's a bit of background noise. You'll have to excuse us. But I think we can probably move on to the next card because I've said all I want to say about it. Have you guys said what you want to say? Yeah, okay.
Ooh, get told.
All fixed. uh, tell your roommate I'm sorry later. But yeah, we can probably move on. I guess the next card is a 1-0. Oh, it's this one.
Nope.
So 1-0, Cool Beauty now Tomori. So
Wait,
1-0,
no. You skipped
Wait.
you skipped a card.
did I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, I
you skipped.
subconsciously
Did you skip it
didn't.
subconsciously?
I
Yeah,
You
subconsciously
skipped
you
didn't
did.
want
a
You
to.
did,
global
didn't you?
five that
I
definitely doesn't
didn't
have
want
another
to.
effect.
I didn't want to talk about this card, but okay. We've
Talk about
got
all the cards.
Happy Face Misa. It's 0015. It's a global support, and it's got a change to a card I'm not very excited to talk about.
Can't wait to talk about that card.
The only relevant card decks here is Global 500 and the word change, but not anything else included in the change section.
Well, I'm being really, really hard on the change target. It's not actually that bad. It's still a 1-for-1, but we'll get to it and I can moan about it
It's
later.
a one for one of the worst variety.
Yeah, this card is niche because it has the change ability. I want to say it's
Like,
bad, but it's really not bad.
Having the change text is actually kind of relevant.
I
I
want
also
to
have it at
agree.
niche.
I want to
well,
agree,
like,
but the 1-1 support kind of sucks. So. Oh
I
well,
don't know. It's
we'll
like,
get to it.
if you're
If
making a
you want,
waifu deck, come on, guys.
There are better cards if you're making a
there are
Dude,
better
deck.
cards for a
Dude,
waifu deck.
I waited 5 Love Live sets for a global 500. I I have the strangest standards.
You got there though.
Oh, I did get
All
there.
right,
It
man.
was a great global 500.
Well, next up,
Moving on. Now we're actually at Cool Beauty now, Tomori. It's the 104K. When it comes from hand to stage, it gains 500 times the number of gifted characters you have, going up to 6,500 if it's the last character you play on stage. And when it attacks, if Hoshinomi Academy is in the climax zone, you may bounce one of your opponent's characters.
I think I have this niche bad.
I have it at playable niche.
I have it at play one niche as well.
I
Yeah, it's
just I think it's niche.
It's a climax with the bounce combo itself. It's been a while since we've had a 1-0 bounce synergy with the actual bounce climax, but I just think right now bounce is not the greatest effect in Weiss.
I would like I would say that this card is relevant on a meta to meta basis, but I feel like if you're getting bullied by like huge beaters at level 1, there's probably a better solution.
I feel like the best use of this card is to enable the 1-0 red accelerate salvager by bouncing to Lavru or Kantai or LB's anti-salvage. Or dog days, I guess.
I think the issue with that is having both cards is kind of awkward in that one is going to be lacking on the full power because they
I
both
mean,
have the
that's
same
fine.
gain X times 500, where X is the number of characters you can have.
I guess that's
Oh.
true.
Oh, I got it.
That's not terribly relevant. It's just like 500 power. You could always just slot this in against some kind of weak lane, which
Yeah,
They
and
made
there
you,
this.
most
you
likely
just
will
played it.
be.
You play Global Soul, so you get to side as well.
Yeah, that too.
I don't
Nah,
know.
nah,
I feel like it's a
I
kind of
got
a one and done type deal because if you do that, you're only getting one or two pluses max, and you're minusing three.
You only neg one, and yeah, you lose whatever you play because those cards aren't going to live. I think this card is still okay, but I'm not going to make a ringing endorsement for it or anything.
They made this to punish people stupid enough to still play rewrite.
Huh.
Yes, I
That's all I.
guess.
That's all I got.
Um,
I feel
think
like
you're absolutely
the-
correct.
This is the kind of combo that you wanted when everyone was playing that Tutu Chihaya.
I think it's fine, I guess. I wouldn't personally run it. I think too many decks right now just run like full costless fields and just don't really care if you're bouncing their stuff around.
Literally, the
Yeah.
only costed character of note is the Yami support into Lavru, and nothing else is costed.
I mean, like, if you bounce the 1/1 Yami, the odds of them actually just playing that again aren't necessarily that high because they probably got all the value they needed the first time they played it.
Did
Well,
they?
they probably just lost two characters.
I mean, the Hana core is
Depending
pretty
on
relevant
timing.
too.
No, Hanarkor is
Yeah.
good, but like,
Yeah, that's the main reason you keep the army down, honestly.
let's see.
Also, the buff with the climax combo,
You get to
which can be
7,
relevant.
8. So I guess you get to reverse whatever you want.
Yeah,
on the
it gets
two-lever
7/5 if you play this as the last one. So this card in
I'm talking about
particular
the.
is,
I'm just comparing it to the accelerator, right? The accelerate right now, the
I
power
guess.
levels, because I'm assuming that's the card you want to reverse more than this, because this doesn't matter if it reverses.
yeah, that's true. I don't think this is
But,
an
like,
amazing card, but it
against
seems alright.
against two lover, right? If you're bouncing the 1/1, it does mean you're not salvaging, probably, because they usually have the 0/0 on the back row too.
Well, you can just attack with the Salvager last against
Yeah.
Satsukase.
I guess.
Like, it's not a problem.
This is true.
Yeah. Well, if you want to
But
deal
if
with
you want-
anti-salvage, the biggest target is Kyosuke, obviously.
Yeah, but that's not exactly a common card to come up against. So
I don't know.
Well, it's meta dependent,
You
guys.
get to attack there
Yeah.
once. You bounce
That is
one,
like the biggest thing to take away.
and you kill two things, I guess.
This card is a tempo swing in a game that doesn't really value tempo very much. So I'm not sold on it, but I can see it being played.
I don't know. It's also like one of those awkward combos where if you hit level 1 first, like, it's just gonna kind of sit in your hand, and you just really hope you don't get hit to level 2 first too.
I don't think it's worth the climax room or the character room because you have better 6/5s for 0 cost,
I think there's an actual 1065 that's 6/5 all the time.
which is literally the next card too.
Oh,
so
speaking
we
of.
can segue to that. Me altogether, now Tomori, she's a 1065, and she cannot attack characters higher with a higher level than it.
It's a cute thing, I guess.
It's a strict
It's-
drawback because you can't ram into level 3s.
Yes.
Wow.
If you have
can-
both of your back row
Yeah,
slots
but-
dedicated to that support, you're probably not too happy.
Yeah,
in
it's not
a
it's
lot
not
of
great
circumstances.
if you're tapping 2 back row for that because A, that means you can't brainstorm. B, that means you can't tap it for the 2-1 counter, which is probably relevant if they're level 3s already. And yeah, aside from that, this is very serviceable up till then.
I think the issue I see with this card, I think I have it at niche, I believe. I have it at playable apparently, is that the 1/0. There's whatever the archetype is called. That's like 500 for every other, and that's also in blue.
Yeah, the Airy clone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's in blue. So you have 1065s in blue, and that's I wouldn't be surprised if you choose to splash for that.
Yeah, I think blue is the better color when it comes to that, but it does need to be supported.
So
I feel like this drawback like leads to other awkward deck building considerations where now you're running 2 to 3 of that specific global 500.
Well,
It's
but it's
not
the only
actually-
worthwhile global support. That's the
He's right,
thing.
it is. It's
Like-
not a huge drawback, but if it ever reaches the point where it becomes an actual drawback, it is a massive drawback.
Um, just after seeing this card, like literally yesterday, I saw it in three different niche situations where it was terrible between
Hmm.
three games. One of
Okay.
them was the Yuki from SAO 2 or SAO 2 Volume 2, because the
Right.
Mother
Oh,
Rosario
plus level.
climax combo gets +1 level to the end of your opponent's turn.
Oh wow, I didn't think of that.
Do the
I was
accelerators get
playing.
plus level to end of opponent's turn, or just for this turn?
I'm
What
not
do you
sure.
Wait, say
mean?
what?
Which
Uh,
Talk
accelerator?
about Sonic.
I'm talking about Sonic and the equivalent in SAO.
I
Oh,
If
I don't know about SAO.
Sal gets it. Oh crap!
It might only be
the
the end of
the
the
Another.
turn.
the Sanic is this turn only. The
Okay,
SAO one is to
it's
the end of
probably.
the opponent's turn.
Is it to the end of opponent's turn in on the one
The S
zero?
on the Yuki, yeah,
Oh no,
I'm
different
pretty
card
sure
then.
it
Okay,
is.
yeah, but the Yuki had that. I played Idolmaster against this, so that's like obvious.
Hmm.
And then I borrowed someone's stupid, shitty Guilty Crown deck where I just had like level 4 characters at all times. I was like, that was interesting, I guess.
It's also like really
But the first
funny.
two are pretty relevant, I think.
I think the IMAS is a really big thing because Aftan Makoto is gonna make this card really awkward as a beater.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and then Milky
I
Holmes
mean,
also has off time, so I mean, there's
to
just
that I would
random
say,
shit you're
why are
gonna
you
get
playing
hosed by.
this without the global support? Like,
At that point, I'm saying now you're
No,
dedicating
no,
so many
but
slots to the back
no,
row
I
to
mean
like be
but
able
it's the
to
only
front
worthwhile
attack
global support.
things.
You're running
yeah,
it
but
anyways. It's
the
the
thing
only
is,
global support
you
in the set
only
worth running.
how many of this 1-0 are you running?
I would hope, like honestly, like if you're gonna run any, two max.
Yeah, I feel like two is probably the most, but if you ever wanted to run more, you're going to have a very big issue against opponents that have full field level twos at level one.
Yep.
Something,
Uh,
right?
Because that isn't uncommon. Like, there are many sets that have plus level on the opponent's turn,
Oh, this
or
card is
just
also
plus
like
level.
really
Or
funny and
change.
I guess kind of awkward as well against cards like marker asanas that just get plus level for every marker.
This card probably,
Yes.
yeah, that is actually really bad against Mark Arsenault because there'll be a 6K in a set that has 2K vanilla counters. So, okay, this card is just bad against SAO, period, no matter what. Except for the red-blue SAO build, I guess.
And like it's not gonna be necessarily very good against IMAS either. Off-time Makoto means that like if you have more than one in your hand, you're gonna need to have both of your back rows being the global support.
Yeah, it seems fine against a lot of other sets because we're really overstating the bad points. Most of the time, this is just going to be a 6-5 with no drawback at level 1. But against those other sets is just terrible.
Yeah, but even no drawback at level 1, even outside of the niche like plus level and change scenarios, like there's just gonna be points in this game where this won't front its opponent because it can't.
It's like when you're playing like two lover and you splash for the clock bomb at level 0. When you draw this at level 3 and you need a third attacker, like you're gonna want to
Well,
shoot yourself.
but that never happens.
yeah, because
It actually never happens.
because
Like,
we're not, well, firstly, I'm not a bad player who splashes those cards because they're not
I'm
necessary.
not assuming you're splashing the cards. I'm saying like this is a similar circumstance.
I think it's
I
a
mean, but
little
like this is a
more
game where you
general than
hand
that.
sculpt like so easily. Like if you didn't want to play this card at that level, then you wouldn't have it, or like you're just clocking it or like discarding it or something. Like,
I'm not sure Charlotte hand sculpts quite as easily as, say, Talavru.
it has a lot of very good hand sculpting options at every
It has
level.
its, well, yeah, it has its brainstorm, and that's the main one.
Has a level zero
That's
beater that also does that. Um,
I got ruined by that brainstorm, so I rate that thing very highly.
that
Search
brainstorm.
8, discard 4,
oh
triple
yeah, dude!
cancel.
It's so
Yeah,
weird to say that to
I
your
got hit
opponent.
by the draw. I got hit by search 6, draw 3, and I honestly didn't care, but it was funny.
Fucking stupid.
It was because he had like 6 cards left in deck when he did it, so I'm like, okay, search away. You still have to discard 3.
I
Um,
guess my other answer is like a callback to the bounce combo. Like apart from an end game climax combo, there isn't really much climax space that's worth investing in at any level, really.
I think the
Um,
stock soul combo is not bad.
oh, that's if you're running the core though.
Yeah, you
Which
can
wait,
run it
which
as the
stock still
core.
combo are we talking about?
The
The
one
The
one.
yellow one,
well, that's if you're running that specific core. Like if, but if you're
you
running
I mean,
don't
this
even
one
need
it's
to.
a
zero,
functionally. It's like almost free.
Hmm. Yeah, no, we'll get to that in time.
I don't know. I can't rate this higher than niche, and I'm like tempted to say it's bad because there are a lot of situations that I can foresee where I'm just like, damn, this is the card I need to use right now.
I
I have it
personally
as
have never really run into those, even against like IMAS or like Milky Holmes. Like it just isn't really a factor
I
to
think
me.
it's playable. The card is playable, not good because there are some massive downsides, but it's very playable.
It's
I mean, we spent this long bitching
fine.
about it. We spent this long bitching, but in reality, that's not going to come up all that often.
It's not as controversial as I want it to be, but I just think it's funny that I saw it absolutely hosed in three different matchups.
Well, you're just being a drama queen, so
It's it's funny. The Guilty Crown deck is so funny.
we'll leave Guilty Crown for Guilty Crown then. So next card
Gosh.
is Moment in the Student Council Room, USA Nishimori. It's a 2/1 level support. It's got two change effects. So the first one is a costless change. Just sack it, and you get to play a 2/1 Misa Kurabane. The 2/1 Misa Kurabane is we'll get to it, but it's the 7K that gains 4K and 1 soul when facing level 3. And the other ability is 2 cost, drop a card from hand, sack this. You can put the level 3 Misa, which heals, into the slot this was in. So we heard an audible sigh from Will there because he hates the 2/1. He hates the 2/1. What are we calling them?
I'm just gonna hate them on principle. It doesn't matter what they're called.
Call him
Um,
three killers.
at one
I don't
point,
know.
I was calling them hunters, and then since I was watching Yu-Gi-Oh, I started calling them rare hunters, and then I stopped because that sounds really stupid.
But most level threes are rares, man.
Three assassins.
Not if you play
But there's
old
only one
sets.
card.
Anyway, let's talk about the actual card. I
Um,
think this level assist is both a like this is
it's a level assist and it changes. I don't
This
like
level assist
it's
is a
not very
level assist.
complicated.
it's a modal card, and modal cards are great. Like it can either be a level assist or it can be a two soul beater against a level 3 for 1 cost.
I like this card because I like
This
level assists.
this card is great against like the advanced summon Ayumi or any advanced summon really because it does hit 11k naturally and probably has support behind it.
Well, this card
And
doesn't hit 11k. The
well,
other
no,
one does.
it
I mean,
functionally does if you have both in the same deck. But
I mean, like the question is, what early plays are you gonna be running into, right?
Ayumi, Onodera,
Are we
Onodera
talking about the
is
other 2-1 right now?
yeah. The Onodera is
Jesus.
what 11k,
10-5. It's 10-5
10
10-5.
5, 10
10
plus
5.
5. Oh
whatever
yeah,
support.
it's plus 1k if you have
They're
turbo
both 10
armor.
5. Yeah.
So then you have your back rows. So it's probably sitting at 11k.
I guess, but that's still a tie for 1 cost.
I don't know. It's like I just like never feel that upset when I'm playing Niseko and I lose the Onodera because she usually gets all the value on play.
Well, no, she gets value from being a 2 soul that they can't kill.
I would heavily agree with Lychee.
I don't know. Like
Yeah,
I
That
just
card
see
is a
like 10
fucking
5 and it's like
plague.
I've gotten over things in very silly ways before.
But this
Like
well,
isn't silly. It's
well,
very
sure.
easy
no,
and
like I'm not
non-committal.
saying it's silly, right? But it's like I didn't like invest into it. I just like it happened.
Well, sure, but the thing is, normally the 2/1s that gain power and soul in front of level 3s, they're bad because you're using a card slot for a card that only has one function and is
No,
otherwise
in a
extremely
sense,
mediocre.
this is like yeah, this is probably my favorite level 3 killer, which doesn't really mean much to me because I generally hate the effect. But I still don't know if I would actually just run it.
I think it's worth I think it's worth a slot if
It's
you're running the level X.
It's like
Because
I don't
making this a modal card is just super
I
strong.
don't remember what other level supports there were in this set.
There is one in
uh
green, I believe.
there are
There's a
two
green one.
others. There are three others? There are two
Ooh,
others. There's one
wow.
in the
Well,
TD, there's one in green as well.
yeah, but I think this one's still the best because yellow is a good color and green is a mediocre color.
Anyways, I think I had the card at playable. Was my final rating for it.
Oh, I have it at playable as well, but
Like I have it playable largely because like level support is good, changing is fine. I probably still wouldn't run the level 3 killer if I was building Charlotte.
this card is only playable in like the 2/1 level 3 killer is only playable in context with this level support. You would never run that one without this.
Yeah, I agree.
Likewise, I think this
Same
card
here.
is much better if you have the other one in your deck.
Yep.
Just
It increases the
significantly better.
consistency of getting it out as well.
Exactly.
Because
Because
you suddenly have one more
counts
card.
as level support. Yeah, the other one counts as level support as well. So it's a really strong modal card.
It's neat. It's also kind of cute.
Sure.
As in the art or the effect.
I don't even know what card we're talking about right now anymore. I'm looking at the level assist, and
Uh,
it's cute.
the 2/1 level
That it
3
is.
is kind of mean, but I think I've said enough about it. It's
Yeah.
also level assist, which is great with the level 3 user. Um, well, what else can I say? It's also good with the advanced summon Ayumi, if
I
that's
mean,
what you're
theoretically,
saying.
it also lets you set up your wall almost a turn earlier if you don't end up hitting level 3 after doing a change.
Yeah, that's true.
Theoretically, I mean
Theoretically.
that's a lot of resources, and it involves not dying,
Hmm.
which
So I
are
guess we,
things that can happen.
yeah, I guess we can move on to the Kazuki Tomori. That it bonds to the Musashi, one cost bond.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
Uh
I don't think you need it.
I think it's totally unnecessary, really.
I have it at niche because like if you want like one or two of to like I guess act as like a fifth or sixth copy of your Musashi, then sure.
I
How would it
don't
play?
like.
it is
I'd rather
inherently so
have it be
unnecessary.
like a clock bond.
I like
Yeah,
clock bonds better, but
I think the card is very playable. It's a bond. Bonds are never bad.
Bonds are never bad, but it's like I don't think this one's particularly necessary.
Agreed. I don't think
There aren't
there's a
many
need.
ways to abuse the blind advantage you get from this card either.
Hmm.
You you can abuse it. You just play a bunch of Musashis and win. Right?
Oh boy.
Game
There
too
are,
easy.
But
there are
I'm
plenty
more
of
referring
ways
to
to do
like
that.
canon core engines and stuff. You can't
Yeah,
really
he's right.
abuse the card you get like you can in Shana or Angel Beats.
There are plenty of ways to get advantage, and I don't think this is a very necessary card, but it's playable all the same.
yep.
I say, well, I agree that it's playable.
I don't
You
think
I
it's
guys
that
give
give it
whatever
playable.
like
rating you want.
niche.
I don't think it's that playable.
All right, sure.
It's like just can't see myself ever using it, but I respect bonds like a lot.
I
Yeah.
think bonds in general are fine. I just like don't think this is at all necessary. I mean, if you want
Speak.
one just for it, then go for it. But like, I can't see myself running this particular card.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And speaking of cards I can't ever see myself running, the two of them together, now and Yusa, it's a 001k. When this comes from hand to stage, you may pay 2 stock. If you do, search your deck for search your deck for a gifted character and add it to your hand.
Search your deck for a
If this
library.
card was on death, I would give it a playable rating.
I think it's bad.
I
Like
actually think
It's
it's that
pretty
bad.
bad.
I
I
don't
don't
like
see a reason
pay
you want
two
to use this
searches
stock.
like ever.
Oh, I like them in some instances, just not in this
I
instance.
think
It
I like this
okay.
effect a lot better when it says when this card is killed. or sense a waiting room, or
Oh,
reversed.
it has another effect, by the way. When this attacks, you choose up to two characters. They gain 500 power, which is
Ooh.
not very useful, to be
No.
quite honest.
No, it isn't.
Well, let me change what I said. I like pay two searches if it's not come into play pay two search. If it's just something like contact collection, where the Akashi is just gonna sit there and be a useless piece of shit, and like,
Yeah, fair enough.
but it's like I'm not going to play a card like this because I desperately need the search.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I like the ones which are on reverse, like the
Yeah, whenever they die, the ones that like are on death or on reverse, pay two search, those are a lot better because that means you only needed one snot going into the turn if this is your only attacker to still be able to search. But on play is like
The Iwasawa from Angel Beats is a really good example of a good pay two search. Because you can pay out climaxes mid combat, but
there are a bunch of bad ones in Index.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, I really think this card is bad. I don't think I can see myself playing it ever.
I have it at niche just because I think
Oh,
Put it
you,
bad.
there's a maybe situation where it could come in handy, but I don't think it's that useful overall.
That's like
I
every
would-
card in Weiss
I would
Schwarz.
basically
That's not
never
true.
ever play this card.
That's not
It's
true.
just bad value. It's bad value. It never beats over anything. Its second ability is irrelevant. I can't ever see myself playing it.
Is bad value even value?
No, bad value is negative value. You're losing value. It's like losing money. You don't want to do that.
Well, you're not losing value so much as you're losing to stock, which I value a lot. Anyway, let's move on to the next card. So Ponytail, now Tamori. It's a 0035. It cannot side attack.
I
Eh?
mean,
Waifu deck card.
it's I guess a playable beater if you want a playable beater.
I think I have it as playable as well, but I think there's better 3/5s you can have.
I agree.
Like I feel like when I was going through this set the other day, I feel like that there were like 12 to 18 oversized level zeros. That's probably an exaggeration, but I just felt like there were so many, and one of them was like the clearly good one, which is in blue.
Yes, I agree.
Yep.
So let's just move on. Quick, 1/1, quick time. Bless you.
Thank you.
This is a 1/6K, and it has no additional power. When the battle
Or
opponent
so
of this
you
becomes
think.
reversed, yeah, or so I think. No, it just has no
It actually
additional
has no
power.
additional power.
If Magic Spell Series #1 Spellbing or these names, if that climax, if the yellow stock soul is in the climax zone, you search your deck for up to one gifted character and add it to your hand. And it's got change. The change cost is interesting. You put this card into stock, and if you do, you choose the 1/0 user from your waiting room and put it into the slot on stage.
Oh, because you're trading a costed character for a costless one.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Exactly. Exactly. It's actually a really cool cost because if this card ever survives after it does its stuff,
You
then you
get
get
to-
to cash it in for stock, which clean stock at that, and then have a 1/0 which you don't really care about dying,
Yeah.
which is really cool
I think the effect
1/0 also
is-
gets big.
Yeah, it gets
if you have the climax.
yeah.
That's yes.
I think the effect is fine. I think it's kind of awkward deck building wise because the only way it's going to get bigger than 6K or 7K, I guess, is if you're running some very specific supports to make changers better.
Well, yeah, but
But
I
in,
feel like
in
you'd
that
run
context, like, yeah, you're probably going to kill something with this.
Yeah, I think that maybe fielding 3 is a bit much, but you will usually kill something with a 1/6, usually 6/5. And then if you have the 1/0 counter, which is a 2K counter in your hand, it will probably live, at which point you can cash it in for stock.
Yep.
So
Okay.
this card looks bad because it's a 1/6K that needs to kill something. But in reality, I think it's quite serviceable if you only field like one row of it. You're not really gonna have.
You don't want to have more than 2 of it on the field max, I think.
And the fact,
personally,
yeah, go on.
I see a 1/8K. That maybe that's just me.
That's just you because you're not going to use all your stock on putting a full field of nonsense out.
Oh yeah, you are. I
Okay,
I play Junes.
Mr. Junez, that's fine.
I see Junes with girls. It's like so
You know that
okay.
Junez hard counters this by being 8-5 at
Yeah,
least, right?
Yeah, that's why I didn't build this deck, and I still have max rarity Junes.
and you still have red or nut deck, which also just like says have
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, of course, there are
Yeah.
decks that stonewall this, but at that point, the cool thing is you can change to the other one and play the climax combo and get above them, which is
Did they actually get
actually,
above it?
I think it gets
I
to
don't know,
9K.
man. Lancer back up.
Yeah, okay, it's
Get
forcing you
fucked.
to use your Lancer backup.
Well, that is a 1/1 splittable counter though.
I don't use those often.
But when you do,
I doubt you ever have to, but
And then when I
anyway.
get to level 2, I go straight to Command Seal. So it's like,
Look, this one is really neat, and you can make it work quite easily, but I don't think it's as abusable as, say, the Girlfriend Beta Kokomi, Little Buster's Rin, or
okay, nothing is
Marika.
quite as abusable as Little Buster's Rin.
Well, that's assuming you
Rin
have.
is unfair because it's not on reverse. Like, just to
Rin
compare
is
them.
unfair because you need to pay how much money for the full set of climaxes?
No, I'm
Oh.
saying the comparison is unfair.
That's fair enough, I guess. All right, shall we move on to the actual level 3 killer? We've talked about this already.
No.
This
Yeah.
card is it's playable in context with level X. Otherwise, it's bad.
I'm always gonna
So-
call this card bad. I've already filled it in as bad.
That's
Since-
fine. It's playable in
since,
context though.
Since I was so confused when we were talking about the level X that I didn't know what card to talk about, I would like to just quickly about this card. I like that it gets +1 soul instead of doing something retarded like kicking their shit to stock.
But the Asuna gets +1 soul as well.
Does it?
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
What in the
The
world?
better comparison is probably to compare it to
Asuna
Accelerate.
has 7-5 base. She
Oh,
has an
okay.
extra 500 in exchange for her forced clock kick. Oh, so
Well, you know
Accelerator
what?
is exactly this.
Did you say forced clock kick?
Is it? I thought the Accelerator only gets
Or
power.
stock kick. No, Accelerator is 4K and 1 soul. It is
Accelerator
exactly this
also
card
7K?
without the change. Yeah, it is exactly this without the change,
Dang.
and that card is totally unplayable because it is not modal.
So change
Oh,
is like
it's-
unbudgeted when it's across levels.
When it's the same level, it's
it's when-
basically no cost.
Same level, same stock cost.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
sometimes
I mean,
you
I guess
don't-
the change text itself that I'm talking about has like no stat budget.
yeah, there are like same level changes are usually neutral or plus in terms of stock, like the Melty Blood one. But let's not talk about Melty Blood. We're talking about okay sets. Summer Uniform Naotomori 2/1 8K. When this attacks, if this is the fishing climax, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's the shot.
The
Yeah, the shot.
shot. Yep. You may pay 1 if you do. Search for a gifted character and add it to your hand. Then this gains 1/5 for the turn.
Alrighty. No.
Yeah, no,
I
it's just
said-
awkward timing.
Yeah. No.
I said playable with like a huge question mark and like not meta slash waifu.
All right.
I don't
so,
know.
so my issue is costed character, costed
And then the
search
cost
effect,
on top. Yeah.
But she
Yeah,
gains
I have it.
1500, man.
I
costed
have it at
character,
niche. It's niche.
costed search effect. I mean, it's 10-5 on combo, so I guess with back row you can kill their own Oderas.
All I'm trying to say is that I might want this combo more in a now waifu deck than the bounce one. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I
you
would-
might be right. You
Now, I'm
might
not
actually be right.
necessarily saying I want to run this, but if I had to put 2 climax combos in,
I would consider putting the just playing the bounce combo and using a bond engine instead.
I am tempted to agree, except the bond engine is not on character.
You'll live.
dude, like you can't tell me people don't make Sayaka decks like without apples.
Well, I can tell them their love is
People
fake.
do. People do.
Why?
Because they're stupid.
But
Just
don't they
rather
want
than
to
no.
win with their waifu?
Well,
Isn't that, like, the
firstly,
point?
no.
Wait.
Saika's-
Have you
Saika's
seen my
nobody's
We're all
Joe's
here to
waifu
have
deck?
fun, dude.
Saika is nobody's waifu. That's the first objection. And secondly, no. Weiss is super serious. No fun allowed.
Have you seen my Joj waifu deck? Do you see any non-Joj in that deck?
Well, it's actually bad for you to
Um,
run non-Judge, aside from the Brainstorm, which you maybe should run.
I maybe, but I don't because
Yeah,
that
not a
would
that's
dung
defeat the
beetle,
point,
man.
wouldn't it?
anyway. My main
Dung beetles
objection to this
only.
card is that it searches at a really awkward time, assuming you've brainstormed like twice, maybe. You'll have like no deck and a climax in the climax zone, and you'll be either searching that lack of deck or you'll have reshuffled already. And I think you're better off just reshuffling with 8 and playing an advanced summon, which we will get to at some point.
One of the
Sure.
fairest of cards.
Yep.
Yep, so I think this is very niche. It goes into the waifu deck, maybe. Hard to say.
I I can't give this a rating better than bad.
Speaking of bad cards, I'm not talking about this one. You guys can talk about it.
Alrighty, so because I will just put bad here for him, I will put bad for me. Yeah, this effect is god awful. It's when this becomes reverse, if the level of the battle opponent is 0 or lower, you
Oh,
bounce
I'm
that
looking at the
character
wrong
to their
card.
hand, and then they get to discard a card. So yes, you just 1-for-1 your opponent with your 0/0, and it gets around cards that say can't be reversed by opponent's battling effects. But your opponent just discarded a climax in their hand that they probably didn't want to have there for free.
Okay, let's be even more specific than that. They discarded anything that did absolutely nothing in their hand.
It could have been a level
Which,
3. It could have been a
yeah.
level
Or,
2.
or they discarded a bond target, and now they get to clock bond or stock bond for more value.
Yeah.
So, like, this card is bad.
This card is bad because it can actively help your opponent in many situations, and in the situations where it doesn't help your opponent, it's
didn't
just a
do
normal
enough.
bomb. Like the high end of this card is it's a normal bomb.
The high end is you
Maybe
bounce it to their hand, they discard it, it's like nothing happened.
Actually,
well,
it's
okay.
super
Continue on
high
the
end.
theme. It's a normal bomb that changes into a global 5.
Oh man.
well,
it's
that
it
is
is
alright.
global 5s 5 through 8.
If you.
That's correct.
Oh
And I
god.
I'm
Yes.
looking forward to running 8 global 5s that do nothing at level 0.
This is like the kind of thing like you would expect of a Magic player, just like maximum recursion. We're playing eggs in modern. That
4
deck,
Ponder, 4 Serum Visions,
that deck
4
got
Sleight
banned
of
for a
Hand,
reason.
4 Preordained.
But that said, I don't think having more global 5s and a bad reverser justifies running any of this card.
I'm
You
sure
have no idea how long I've thought about how Yosuke and Yukata could ever be good, and the only conclusion I came to is if you force your opponent to play another come in play check top deck, clock that card if it's a climax or event, then you might have gotten some extra damage in the case they didn't also want to hit themselves and level up.
well, I mean this oh no, that's like
You can
no,
also
that's not a
tempt
good
your
example.
you
Oh,
can tempt your opponent into playing Ricky's again if you want to
Okay.
make them greedy.
No, I got it. I got a better example than the come and play top check clock that card example. The
Mhm.
Guilty Crown one where you have to discard stock. Because
Or
when
the Clannad one is the same one. You reveal the top deck, you have to discard stock.
You need to hit a card with detriment for it to be remotely acceptable.
like
Do you,
it has to be
do
a
you
hilarious
understand how
detriment.
niche we've gone? This is like the nichest of niche cases.
And like some of those
Basically,
cards
we're trying to be Guilty Crown at level 0
are
with this
don't
card.
even care like at all ever.
Yeah. 0 out of 10 bad card. I can't believe we spent this much time on it.
Next.
Okay, we like talking about bad cards.
We do. Next.
GN's vocalist, Sala Shane. It's
I don't-
Sala, not Sarah, which is interesting. She's a 002K, not gifted trait, notably. And your other character in the front row center gains character encore.
So our super
Yeah.
powerless friend here is whatever.
Hey man, she had superpowers.
did she? What? No, she didn't.
Yeah, she did.
No, she
She-
didn't.
Okay, she clearly did, dude. In the anime, she's an adult. She's past her
Oh.
adolescence. Dude, why'd she go blind after some like gift from God made her famous? Why did the brother go blind? Think about it. God damn it.
You know, I
Brother
had
didn't
a,
go
I had,
blind.
I had
Brother
a
went
really,
insane.
really
What?
long
No!
period.
Fucking shoe.
Oh, that guy.
Oh my
The
goodness.
time travel brother.
these guys talking theory.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
there was a long
Five.
time where I was discussing this character, and I was like, "Oh, this is the future version of the main character, right?" And then I realized I was talking about the Love Live movie and not Charlotte.
Love Life movie?
Yeah, Love Live
So,
movie also has some like bullshit with like possibly future Honoka.
yeah,
Wait, oh my
I
God,
was
what the?
really,
So many
really
spoilers.
confused. Yeah,
And
well, that's your fault for not having watched the Love Live movie
Bro, I
yet.
thought you
I
liked
don't
Love
even
Live.
play. I didn't even play Love Live or like Love Live, and I went to see it. So,
anyways,
Dude,
I
you
have
do play Love
Ironically
Live.
enough, this
oh,
does work
I
in
put a
the music
master.
standard tech.
yes, it does work in music standard, where being music trait automatically takes another 1,000 power off of your drop searchers.
If you want to play an
Hell yeah.
Akinari deck with a music base, then this is the Encore user to use instead of the Fairy
Oh
Tale.
yeah.
Oh dear God,
That's niche as shit. I need these cards
that
now.
requires an unbanning.
Well, my locals does unban standard now and then, so it's knowledge useful to me.
Anyways, this is niche at best. Does
I've got
nothing
this as
Oh
bad
God, no,
because
this is bad, dude.
It's
it's
and
bad.
does nothing
unsearchable.
How
at
do you
worst.
play this?
It's the only card that Best Girl got. So sad.
Like
Sadly,
I
I
can't
feel great.
ever like justify putting it in my deck though because like
It's off trade.
honestly I think
That's all.
zero
That's
zero
all.
hand on cores are like largely unnecessary.
It's off trade.
Well, it's
That's really all.
Oh yeah, up trade
not
also
necessarily
sucks.
0-0 hand on course.
Well,
It's like
okay, you
Yeah,
could
well,
theoretically
it's
give your
always
1-0 hand on cores at the cost of 500 power, I guess.
mm, exactly because it won't be supporting your Airy clone.
yeah.
All right. So best girl, sad to say, bad card. Next card is Days
I'm used to
Recalled.
it.
Now Tamori is 0025. When this is placed from hand to stage, reveal the top card of your library. This gains X power, where X equals 1/5 times the level of the revealed card. This is basically a 007K, right?
Uh,
In all practical
God.
situations, yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty
this
much.
is a bad.
Yeah, this is just not
Card's
a good
bad,
card.
but it's
It's
it's really
bad.
sweet
I
at the
think the
same time.
effect again, we kind of went over the math earlier. Roughly 24 cards of your deck are going to be level zeros.
Look, if you're a super baller and you run like 3 Musashi, 3 level 3 Yusa, 3 level 3 Misa, and 4 Ayumi, that's like 13 cards.
You could be like
Okay.
that guy who runs no level zeros
Oh
and just
How-
run this.
God.
Or I could not
Okay,
and
guys.
be not SAO.
This is for like a standard experience deck
No.
where you're running
No.
like 13 level 3s
No.
for like heinous
That-
experience costs.
The
No.
problem with experience decks is that they need to run a lot of costless level zeros in order to get the stock to play their expensive cards.
Yeah, this is a
So
costless level 0.
Next
Level
card.
07K.
Bad. This is
Bad.
bad. Next
Bad.
card.
You reveal Senjo Gahara, and it's 7K. Come
All
on.
right,
Be
cool.
quiet.
It's a vanilla.
Be quiet.
I'm not even changing my updated score from bad.
Yeah,
I
I
and
have
I'm
to
keeping it at
agree.
bad.
It's bad because you can just play better cards.
It doesn't have the change keyword.
So
Oh,
just
that's
just to
awesome.
clarify for people, vanillas are not bad because they're vanilla. They're bad because they take up slots that other good cards could be taking up. It's called opportunity cost,
Man, they
and
should
that's
have
why
they should have made this
What?
change with the Yusa vanilla.
My God. Stop it.
I would actually agree. That does seem like it could be good. Or if that card changed into this card, the 1/0 that we're about to talk about,
Oh yeah, that's true.
that'd be
Yeah.
pretty sweet, actually.
That'd be pretty cool.
Serious
Alrighty.
just for a moment. 1045 USA Nishimori. When this attacks, if the Stock Soul Magic Spell Series number 1 is in the Climax Zone, this gains X power, where X is 1K times the number of gifted characters
So we
you
figured
have.
it out. It gets to 9-5.
Yes.
9/5, baby.
Free support.
And you can change, pay 1, sack it, to put the 1/1 6K on reverse search with the same Climax combo.
Yep.
It's really
It's-
neat.
It gets to
Like,
9-5. It's just barely big enough to get over a rider.
this Climax combo is really neat, but unfortunately, I still have to say it
Implying-
only goes with the deck that runs the Misa Searcher, so I have to say niche.
I'm
Yeah.
also giving it a niche. It requires
Label niche.
a lot of slots, like a minimum, let's see,
6.
6 plus 4, 10 plus 2, 12 card slot investment.
12.
I'm
Why does
assuming you're running the 1/1 support to make
Well, so
changes not bad.
Well, I'm not running that.
No,
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 I wouldn't
you
run
can't
that.
run that.
Card is too stock intensive. We're not old Teru.
Junes, guys. This card is excellent because she is wearing a sideways baseball cap, and she like contributes to my like 18th standard deck project of Dude Bro cards.
Oh,
That's
which
very
was-
Oh shit!
very Ash Ketchum of you.
It was inspired by
how many Little Busters
um,
baseball cards are going to be in that
Mikoto.
deck?
the Mikoto scaling.
Straight cash only.
Well, now I've got this really
enough Little
terrible
Busters
image
cards.
of that Ash Ketchum stock footage where he twists his cap and throws a Pokeball.
Oh, dear.
Except now it's Misaka Mikoto.
She throws a coin.
I have it at niche. Anyone else
Yeah.
want to change it from niche?
Playable niche. Sounds
Next
good.
card.
Niche it is.
Niche, not meta. I don't know.
Next
Like-
up is what is this?
It's a 117k.
Yeah,
No, not global. It's a 117k vanilla. Serious just for a moment now.
bad.
I haven't seen any cards which take the role of a 117k yet, so I can say this is niche.
I will say it is bad just because if I'm paying for a 1/1 to do anything, it better be 9k or it better have some sweet effect.
Yeah, I don't.
Like another one we'll get to later in blue.
Oh, is there one? I didn't actually.
Okay,
realize
but
there was
like,
one.
No, you're gonna smack me when
Oh,
we get to that
God.
card.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll look
God.
forward to it. I'm gonna keep saying it's niche because I haven't seen anything that takes this card's place.
Sure, but again,
I'm
That's
going
fair.
to. I don't know. I advocate 1/1 vanillas in like a waifu deck setting, but normally I try to avoid vanillas in quote unquote meta builds of series.
if I'm gonna pay a stock for a card, it better do something sweet or it better be huge.
I have
I
SP
played one in
117k
meta.
vanillas.
Well, are
Yeah,
you
but-
playing Zero no Tsukaima?
So sad.
No, he's playing
No,
his Hanyo
that-
waifu deck.
Oh dear God.
Oh
He's-
god, I
Good-
play ZNT2 and I forgot about that vanilla. 'Cause that card, it does so much. That card is, in a
Yeah,
weird way,
he's
your
right.
level 2 game.
It is really good.
Ugh.
Let's move on.
So I'm not updating my rating, but this card is awful.
Student Council President Naotomori. When this is placed from hand to stage, it gains X power, where X is equal to the number of gifted characters. So it's 11-5 for a turn.
Sure.
Maybe. I don't know. This
Question
isn't.
is why this when you could run
Yeah.
a better level 3 killer?
Yeah, this is a level 3 killer. That's basically all it does.
Except that it has hand encore, which is like assuming that you're somehow gonna make it live and want to hand encore it to like be
Oh,
a
yeah,
2/1
2/1
6/5.
Use your
Wow.
hand on core engine, guys.
It's
Let's be abjectly worse than a 117k vanilla after hand on core.
it's bad. I
It's
Yeah.
pretty bad.
I
Yeah.
I don't think the upside is anywhere near.
there's the upside.
The upside is that you have an 11-5 for a turn.
Woo, I guess.
Yeah. That's
Pretty big.
my reaction.
I'm
I mean, if it was
like
like
the ambassador of big, and that's big.
if it could bounce yourself to your hand, that would be pretty sweet. Then we could pretend we're playing Index.
That's fair.
But
But
no,
it's also still bad.
it's hand encore. It's still bad.
All
If
right.
you got the power when it came from waiting rooms, that'd be too.
Next card.
Except it
No,
would be
it
on their
wouldn't be
encore
good.
step, so it wouldn't do anything.
Oh right, yeah, never mind.
Everyone going shopping now. Tomori is a 2/10k. When it comes to stage, discard a character from your hand. If you don't, it dies.
It's basically the
Bad.
worst Chihaya ever printed.
Look, at least it has 2 soul.
But at least it doesn't heal.
Wait, there are versions of this card with 1 soul?
Yeah, in Haruhi and Miku.
Oh,
but you see, those are 2/10k without downside.
Except
Wait.
the 1 soul.
Well, okay, I mean like without like minusing you
downside,
your hand
sure.
actively.
By the way, Chihaya is clock your top deck, not discard a card. You're thinking of Kyoko.
I think he's thinking of Takane.
I am
as a
thinking of
2/10.
Takane actually, not Chihaya.
Yeah, but
But-
Takane, you stop discarding cards at level 3.
Yeah.
But Takane, you also heal.
No, that's my point.
That's
like,
why he said without the heal.
Oh, I thought you said Chihaya.
No,
as
I
in
meant to
Well,
say
he said
Takane.
Chihai.
rewrite one.
because-
Okay, sure.
But
Because the rewrite
it's all
one is a
idle
viable
mastery.
comparison.
that said, like
Not really.
in the glorious world of functionally vanilla,
This card's
still
this
wouldn't run
card
this.
sucks because there's a 3/2 blue which does everything this card does but better.
Hashtag fair level 3s.
I'd
It's a
rather
sauce.
play the what's his name, Klaus from Nisekoi.
Klaus is a 2/2 10k 1 soul as well.
I know, but I don't discard cards.
He's on weapon trait though, so I guess that's relevant.
Dude, you can't even like discard climaxes with this. Come on, guys. Takane can discard climaxes.
Agreed.
Oh my
Alright.
goodness.
Last card in yellow. 1/1 counter. It's a 1/1 event, sorry. A 1/1 event
Girl
counter.
demo.
Choose one of your gifted characters. That character gains 3/5. So it's a
It's
counter.
a very standard 1/1 event counter. They're generally pretty playable.
I'm
Yeah.
not really down with this because there's a 1/02k counter, which goes towards the game plan of get a heap of stock.
One of the nice things about 1/1 3/5 counters is that you do get to use them offensively, which can be relevant at times.
Well, yeah, maybe in series with like clock kicks and restanders, which this series.
I have it in
Oh,
niche
well.
personally because I agree I'd rather have the 1/02k counter most of the time, but
I actually have this as playable because it is playable, but I don't know if I'd deck it.
I would not play this.
Like, I have a personal bias against cards like this.
my issue with like event counters in general are you have to draw them.
You know, come to think of it, I have played Sal, like old just set one Sal, with the 1/1 event and the split counter Asuna. So I don't know. Me years ago would have played this, I guess. I don't know.
Channel your inner Sal.
More or
Channel
less.
my inner statistics.
Okay. Well, that is yellow in the longest video we have made for
On
a
a
single
single
color
color.
ever.
Well, we have been discussing and giving ratings and stuff.
So we'll be right back with green.
We will be.